All right, we are recording.
Okay. Welcome and greetings for our annual timesheet summer work question and answer session meeting, if you will. This is going to be recorded, so if people ask you, we will send out a link to that as soon as we can to the PFA email listserv. So I'm very happy that you're here. I do not know if we have any other admin on the line, but we do have Ed on the line for any technology related questions. And Lindsay is joining us along with Karen, who will be taking us through a sample of the WinCap timesheets for you. I know we only do this once a year, but we did make some late changes to that. We'll also talk about paper timesheets for other subgroups of the PFA, for example, the 11-month people. So here's a little roadmap of how we'll do this. I'm going to let Karen get started, and she's going to share her screen. So again, if you're taking notes or you want to watch the recording later, we're going to go through how to record your time in WinCap using Laura Irizarry's account as a demo. And after that, if there aren't any follow-up questions to the timesheet specifically, then Lindsay is going to be monitoring the chat. And if you could, there's really not that many of you. So if you want to take off your mute and then just ask questions, or you can put them into the chat and we'll answer your questions one at a time. Please note that we have our very seasoned employees on the call, as well as new staff. So chances are, if you have a question, a couple dozen other people would have had the same question. So please ask all of your questions. We'll go through all of them. And if we don't know the answer, then we will get the answer out to you in subsequent emails if need be. Okay. Karen, you want to take it from here?
Okay. The first thing I want to do is sorry, I'm not as fluent in all of this as everything you guys are. Share. Okay, which screen are you seeing now?
We see the Pioneer Central School
resources.
Staff resources. Okay. So what I'd like for you to do is just go to the Pioneer webpage, or what you should do, go to web resources and staff resources, and go on down to WinCap for the web. And then you would log in. And I already have, Laura has been kind enough to let me use her account here. So first thing you need to do on the date range is change this date to 7/1, because it started our new fiscal year, 7/1. And then it should automatically populate into a 2-week period, and then hit refresh, and it'll come up, and you would do add new time. And then you have the drop down menu based upon the date range that you've entered up here. And then so if you were today, you would enter today's date and whatever time you came in. So if it was first thing this morning, you would do 7:30 a.m. and then time out. If you worked the full day, you would do 2 p.m. If you only worked the half day, you would be 7:30 a.m. to 10:30. And then over here on the end here, under job duty, if you select that little down arrow, so if you're just a normal 78-hour employee, that's the one that you would pick. If you are covering for a CSE meeting, then you select CSE. Or if you're teaching summer school, then you would make that selection. So for now, I'm going to do the 78-hour summer work. And when you select that, if you could go ahead and hit save, don't try to figure out your hours, just let the computer do it for you. So you click save, and it comes up with 6.5 hours, and it will subtract your breaks for you. And then it's a very big help for us if you put a caret at the end. And on this note, if you can put like whatever sessions that you attended, or if you taught summer school, you can just type in, taught summer school. This just helps us in our record keeping. And then once you have finished that, you can hit the APPR, which is the approval saying, yes, I've worked this time, and then click save. Then the next time you would go in and add new time again, select the date from your drop down and do the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and do one. I know it's too early for tomorrow, but I'm going to do one anyway. Type 7:30 a.m. I'm going to do out as 10:30 a.m. Again, summer work. And click the little caret at the end. And I'm going to put session 7. And then click save. So it creates your hours. So this would show that 3 hours were worked. So you only worked a half a day, and make sure to hit the approval. Okay, so that's how to enter your timesheet. After our session today, we will also send you the link of the recording, and then also there is a video training of how to do your timesheet, and that's posted on our technology webpage. Let's see, I'm just going to go to, go to menu, technology, the ITS help desk, and then there's staff tutorials. And you can click there. And here is the summer timesheet instruction video. So I won't make you guys watch it right now, but you can go online there and it walks you through just what we just did. Okay. If you're an 11-month person, you do not do the electronic timesheet. You would do a pink timesheet that you can get from your office staff. One thing I do want to remind everyone is make sure that you sign in every day when you're at a workshop. No matter what building that you're in, there should have sign-in sheets available. And if anyone has any questions or need to make any changes to their summer work, be sure to reach out because it has to be approved before.
Karen, can you go back to the WinCap for a second? I want to show the group something.
Yep.
So if you can go up, Karen, to where you can see that you check the approve. If everyone's looking at this, the first column here, approved, that's like everybody that remembers before we had this, the tubs and tubs where you had to sign in. You have to do 2 things for summer work. You have to sign in, and then there's a timesheet to get paid. 2 things we need for auditors. This first column is your signature on your timesheet. Some of you may say, well, what is the second approver for? That's generally an approver at the building level. Usually a secretary that goes through to ensure that everything is checked. So that's this level. And then that's finally your supervisor. That's like your principal. And then it goes up into the business office. So instead of different people signing these sheets that it used to be, these clicks represent your signatures now. And if you do not click them, then it gets stuck in the process. And then we have to have everybody that's in line here go back and unclick it. So you want to make sure that you click these before you hit submit. And if you're not sure who the second approver is in your building, I would ask your principal. The principal will be the final approver as your supervisor, but there generally is somebody that checks those to ensure that everything is ready for submission. All right. And then I think there was a question, Lindsay, in the chat. Was there a question?
Yes, there was a question. Is this the same for new teachers who don't have a login yet? If we don't have a login, will they be emailed soon?
That is a very good question. So is this a teacher, Karen, that is probably going to be on the August agenda that's allowed to work summer work now for Morgan?
Yeah. Yes, and we need to check your WinCap to see if there's any invites that we need to send out.
So Morgan, that's a very good question. And I will check with the business office right after this meeting. Everything is triggered by a start date in WinCap, but this is going to be backdated. You've had approval to work this now, even though you officially won't be board approved until the 15th of August. So 2 things are going to happen. Either we can get the business office to initiate this in WinCap now, or there will have to be a paper timesheet for you. Because again, everything is automated and everything generates all of your accounts based on the start date. So that's a very good question, Karen. If you make a note, we'll talk to Carrie Bartosik afterwards.
Yeah, we had about 5 or 6 people that were kind of stuck somewhere. It wasn't creating. So those should be done probably by the end of this week.
I know what I can tell you is there was 5 or 6 accounts that just went through today. Basically WinCap had to roll to the next fiscal year. But we did see a number of accounts coming through today.
So Morgan, we'll make a note of you and we will communicate with you today. I see another question. What about if you work a full day, but it's 2 different sessions? Do you put them in as 2 separate entries, Karen?
Nope, you can put them in as one, just like I did here on this first example on Thursday, 7/6. I put session 1 and session 3, and I just did the full day. You can enter them as 2 separate ones if you want to, or you can enter them as one and just in the comment line notate.
Okay, next question is.
There's another, there's another question asking, is this the first or second week of the pay period?
This is the second week of our pay. But
So there's a 2-week lag, and tomorrow for 12-month people, we're getting paid. So if you enter things for this week on, expect to get that in 2 weeks. So some of July's work, even though you did it in July, it'll roll over into August. It's on a 2-week lag. Nope, you're welcome, Stacy.
And also onto that, we had a couple of the math BOCES workshop that was at the end of June, that if that applied to you, you would go ahead and enter that, is July like 1st or 2nd, and be sure to notate that it was a BOCES workshop for June 26th or whatever date it was that you attended.
All right, perfect. And then Karen, could you add Melissa Girdlestone to the list?
Yep, already
We
know.
got you, Melissa. Other questions? If you're having problems with this, I just want to say this for the recording for everybody. Please contact Karen Haynes, 716-492-9412 for immediate assistance in terms of adding extra punches or working your way through WinCap. If you're in a building and you're working off of a laptop, you could go and ask a building secretary. They would be able to help you, but if it's specifically for summer work, I'd rather have you ask Karen, who we've been trained to do this the last couple of years, and we can troubleshoot problems with the district office directly and or facilitate tickets with Erie One if we need to do that.
We just had an extra message in the chat. So just to clarify, if they're subbing for summer school, they should pull down the menu part that says teacher summer school.
Correct. That is what will trigger the different pay amount.
Yep. And I think contractually, for those of you who want to know, I think the difference is $45 per day. That's not an hour, but that's for the whole day. And that is a new element in your contract that wasn't there before. Just some general things, if there aren't any other questions. It's a 6-hour max per day per week. Very good question. So I'm gonna give you this name. There are building reps in each building, Melissa, but if you're not sure who they are, Ken Flaza And I can have Karen, if you can put in here a number to contact you, we can contact you and give you an email. I want to direct you back to the union for that. I know that they make copies of the contract available, and it is something to look at and to have memorized. Always a good thing to know your contract. So good question. So to answer it, I think you can get a copy of it now. I think it's just in what format they have it in, I'm not sure. You're welcome. Also make a note, and I think everybody's good, that summer work was ending a little earlier this year. Based on the last week and a half for cleanup and other things. I think the only things going on that week were some special ed scheduled things, right, Karen?
Correct. In the
So
middle.
if you have any questions, or if that changes, or if special ed administrators or a principal approaches you, just make sure that you check in with Karen about when that last date is. The superintendent was very particular about that last date in August, because I think it only leaves 7 working days, if memory serves, to clean the district with the final rooms in preparation for the new year. All right, good. So Brenda is going to take care of the contract stuff. Thank you, Brenda. Karen, anything else? The reminders, tips?
Just remember that if you want to make any changes, it has to be made before, not the day of. And just make sure you sign in and make sure you complete your timesheet. Otherwise, you can't get paid.
And if you have questions for anything, again, email or call Karen. You can contact Jenna or Lindsay or Ed, but Karen would be the fastest response to summer work. For those of you who are emailing me, you can do that into next week. Next week will be my last full week at Pioneer. My last day is tentatively scheduled for Friday, July 14th. But I'm already being requested to start earlier than that in Olean. So I'm not sure, maybe Wednesday, but I would start directing summer work questions to your principal or the principal of academics, Melissa Devitt, perhaps. I am going to be meeting with the superintendent about a few larger ticket items and in general where curriculum type questions should be routed to. And hopefully that will be figured out next week with some emails then going out, redirecting those things. I do believe that the assistant superintendent for academics, Shauna Giugino, if I'm saying that correctly, is scheduled to start on July 17th. So I'm assuming a fair amount of those things would be directed to her, but I'm not sure. Okay. I hope you have a very good summer, Pioneer. I hope that you accomplish a lot of things in your summer work. It's been a privilege. And this will be my last annual summer work meeting for timesheets. All right, any last questions?
Okay, I'm just going to do a quick demo real quick for someone who was asked about the Math Institute. So even though it was at the end of June, you would just enter it as a July date and then still just do your 7:30 to 2 as your summer work. And then in the notes section, you could just put Math Institute. Yeah, I spelled it wrong. June 27th. Yeah, I know. I did two of the same date, so I couldn't do that. That's why it wouldn't let me. But that's the way you would do it.
Karen.
Do this one. All right. All right, that's it. Okay, any other questions from anyone? I'll stop sharing my screen.
All right, I think we can stop recording.